We're going to talk about Midnight Special after this clip. We're also going to hear from Jeff Nichols, the director, and Michael Shannon.
He okay?
He doesn't look good.
He's sick. He's getting weaker, but he'll be okay.
Should we do something?
Just stick to the plan and get him there by Friday. Do you think that's wise? It's all we have. This date and place is everything. We take him to a hospital, it's over.
But if it's between that and him dying?
It's 3 days. He'll make it.
I think he's right.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a way out of all of this, y'all, but it's a shame. He would have made a nice family otherwise.
Well, you know, I'm a kid of the 80s, and I grew up in Arkansas, which is a fairly rural place, and we didn't have foreign cinema. We didn't have auteur cinema, not that I knew about at least. And so I grew up going to these movies, and when I think about what movies should be, I think about those films. I think about Starman, I think about E.T., I think about Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And I think it was kind of inevitable finding myself in the career of filmmaking that at some point I would try my hand at one of these types of films. You know, I think Close Encounters of the Third Kind is one of the greatest films ever made, not just one of the greatest sci-fi films ever made. And so, you know, I think these things are kind of baked in to my DNA as a storyteller. That being said, you use these things as inspiration, the colors, the sounds, the aesthetic, but I kind of leave that at the door, and I start just trying to tell the story about these characters as realistically as I can, but you kind of can't help escape it. It is kind of baked into who I am.
I don't know. Ever since I met Jeff, he's just kind of felt like a brother to me. I think we have a similar background. We come from a similar part of the States, the South, and the South kind of informs our sensibility, you know, a little bit. And we just seem to be on parallel tracks in terms of life experience and the preoccupations we have, things we mull over, you know. You know, we don't talk about it overtly. It kind of happens in a very subconscious way. I think it's really just a relationship between the way he writes and the way I act, the way I interpret it, you know. We don't have to have a lot of lengthy discussions about anything. It just kind of comes together.
Jeff Nichols and Michael Shannon talking about Midnight Special, which is in cinemas today. We're going to give our review very shortly, but first, the news of our competition. You'll have seen on Spark's social media pages and website that we've been running some competition this week for some goodies, including a radio transmitter, some headphones, a torch, and a glowing T-shirt. I'm jealous because it does look pretty cool. It looks really good. Thank you so much to everyone who has totally blown the doors off the competition and everything. We've had over 500 responses, which is like unprecedented for this show. So
I can't believe we've had that many.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, and yeah, just to say, Joe's foot's gone numb.
Yeah, it's like every movement is pain.
We can only pick 2 winners, though, I'm afraid. So a lot of you are going to be unrewarded.
I think we deserve. I think they deserve a thank you though for just getting in.
You get a thank you.
500, over 500.
But as always, stick with the Spark Facebook and Twitter pages and the Spark site and ours, LRJ Film Show, for news of any further competitions in the future, because you might win one again. You never know. But anyway, the winners have been chosen at random, and we can reveal that the prizes are going to a Twitter user called KGoldsmith89 and Joyce Nesbitt via email. So the two of you are we're going to get in contact with you after the show, and the prizes will be on their way to you now. Let's talk about the film in question, Midnight Special.
So can we please talk about Michael Shannon's voice first?
Yes, we can.
Yes. It's amazing, isn't it?
He's so southern.
It's so southern.
He does sound drunk.
Yeah, he really does. Yeah, so Midnight Special is a film by Jeff Nichols. We've been waiting this for a while. We saw this early at a secret screening, thankfully. Basically, the plot is Roy Meyer, played by Michael Shannon. He is. I mean, I'll get to him with his sort of involvement with Jeff Nichols later. Basically, his son Alton is an 8-year-old boy, and he has special powers. However, he doesn't know what they are, and he and Roy, with his friend Lucas, played by Joel Edgerton, have to go across country to keep Alton safe, all while being tracked by Adam Driver's Was it an NSA agent,
NSA, yeah.
Paul Sevier, who's on their back and wants to sort of find out more, and they can get them in for military application maybe, but nobody knows what Alton's powers are. Now, the first thing that comes to mind for this film is it's very ambitious storytelling, and I really, really appreciate that because it's got grand ideas and they are explored sensitively and adventurously. I mean, Jeff Nichols is a director who loves to talk about family, and I know I read an interview with him a few weeks ago where he said that all of his films are going to involve sort of very personal themes to him, and especially with this film, this is the first film he said that he didn't have an idea for straight out of high school, straight out of film school. So this was the first original idea, the first idea he had to come up with from the scratch. And very much he said that once he had his son, that it made him feel about how bad he would feel to lose his child.
Yeah.
So this is very much relatable to him. And how much he can, how much he would miss his child if he lost him. And obviously this is playing into the Midnight Special plot, which is now him and a father and a son going cross country for the father to keep the son safe. So it's very good to see him sort of infuse that in there. I mean, Jeff Nichols, I just watched Shotgun Stories earlier in the week before we saw this. I have yet to see Mud, but Take Shelter I saw a few years ago, a terrific film. And he's just 35, and to see him doing more like this is just going to be great to see. Midnight Special itself is heavily influenced by Spielberg, like Close Encounters and other 80s classics like that. And he's admitted that himself in what he just played earlier on. He's very much a boy of the 80s, and films such as that, he infuses mature and complex themes into a genre context. And this time, it's a science fiction context. And even though his earlier films are not very, they're all sort of just straight up dramas, apart from Take Shelter, which has a bit more of a psychological edge to it. But this is very much a sci-fi drama. And it's extremely patient as well. The release of the revelations. Now, this is a film that some people will get irritated by because the answers aren't always there. Some never get revealed because during the film you watch it through Adam Driver's NSA agent's eyes, and you know just about as much as he does as the plot go on. It's perfectly paced where the revelations are sort of, you realise them as he does and as the rest of the people in the film do. You never really spoon-fed anything.
No.
You have to come to your own conclusions a lot, and it's heart-wrenchingly realistically acted. I mean, Michael Shannon puts in a sensitive, a caring, and a really amazing portrayal of a father desperate to keep his son safe, and it's constantly proven why Nichols is right to put faith in him time and time again, from Shotgun Stories to Take Shelter, always playing sort of these relatable characters that he can sort of infuse the writing with. And Nichols himself does a fantastic job here. There's consistently great shots throughout the southern locations. The sometimes lonely backdrops are just really well done and really good to watch. The soundtrack's wonderfully intense and it's mysterious at times to match the flow of the story. And as a film, it's properly inspired storytelling with its roots firmly in the ground of family themes and family relationships. And we really do need more films like this, because it's a film that, while it doesn't forget its roots, as I say, it manages those grandiose and superlative ideas in a way that you can come to your own conclusions about what's going on and what this kid really is and what he represents. And because of that, I think it's definitely one of my favourites of the year. I've really love this.
I like that it's open-ended. It's interesting that you say about there's not a lot given to you.
Yeah.
I like the film's use of silences, and I like the sort of glances that you get that you kind of, they don't need to say what it is, and I guess some people might lose some people. And I've seen a lot of complaint that the ending's quite there's a lot of open gaps, but I think that's fine. I think if you're into it,
ambiguity is good.
Ambiguity is fine. Joe, you're a big Jeff Nichols fan. You've been, for the last few weeks, if you go back in here, you've just been sort of making
I've been really, really excited for this.
Squealing noises.
I've been a fan of Jeff Nichols ever since Shotgun Stories. Everything he's ever made, I've watched and just absolutely loved. Also, should be known that if a film is set in Southern America, I will watch it. Yeah, hands down. But yeah, Midnight Special. Trying to think.
Well, did it live up to your expectations, first of all?
In some ways it did.
But some ways not.
Yeah, some ways not. Obviously, you can definitely tell the Spielbergian influence.
Oh, yeah.
Hands down, Close Encounters, pretty much everything from the 80s, it is bang on influence from. But there's a few factors for me that are a bit worrying. The negatives, I would probably say, I do think it does have that Spielbergian sentimentality at times, especially during the end. And I think that kind of, it didn't hurt us, but it's just kind of like, okay, I get it. But other than that, I think, I don't know, because you're seeing all those like big grandiose ideas and stuff like that. I get that, but I didn't feel it was as big as the film made it out to be. With a kid and like the religious stuff, like all the aspects and stuff like that. I didn't feel that at all. Even though it had the kind of bravado from the military and all that kind of stuff, it didn't kind of feel like
like that. this being Jeff Nichols' biggest film financially and star-wise, you think that maybe hurt his storytelling technique a little bit?
In that aspect, maybe. But you see, the thing I would have just continually watched all the way through is the scenes with Michael Shannon and Joel Edgerton and Kirsten Dunst. This is probably
She's
one of
great.
the best things she's in, and ever since like Fargo.
Yeah.
But all those scenes on the road, everything to do with that in the motel, I could watch that for days. That's what entertained me the most, and pretty much every scene after that, to be honest. I mean, it was pretty much, I enjoyed the journey more than the kind of send off. Basically, every scene with the military and NSA and everything like that, which kind of the ambiguity was good, exploring Alton's powers and stuff like that. But everything else, it didn't really feel as big as it was. But all those little intimate moments with Michael Shannon and Alton and everything, they were fantastic. That's what I absolutely loved.
I personally enjoyed the sentimentality, and it's straight away drawn the comparisons to E.T., which is a film I really loved as a kid. I remember crying in the cinema seeing E.T. at its anniversary. So obviously, this film did work for me. I haven't really got much negative to say.
No.
It will probably need a second watch. I might go see it again. Because it just felt like a big experience. I mean, certainly his biggest film in terms of money, and it shows. But it was on $18 million to make. That was some pretty good special effects.
Yeah,
it was
really
very grand in scale.
I mean, it had aspects which just draw me to a film straight away. Obviously, set in the South. Well, Jeff Nichols. You got loads of pretty much overnight kind of like driving or just endless roads in America, which I'm there. But yeah, there was just little things like that. Just I didn't feel the bigness of it, but I would highly recommend it because I really do think it is a good film.
And people should go and check out Michael Shannon and Jeff Nichols' previous work as well.
Those are just the little tiny things that hurt me.
And this is the same week in which Michael Shannon plays a dead body in Batman vs Superman.
Yeah.
So that's all good for him.
Of the two, which should people see? Which performance is better?
Well, I think to play a dead body so superlatively and so sensitively,
so chiseled.
You've got to appreciate that. I mean, when you see him with his eyes closed, it's just heartbreaking.
So stuck,
and you realise it. I mean, his acting's a bit stiff, to be fair, but
yeah, right, very good.
Left me cold.
Dead on arrival.
It seems like an obvious question, but recommend or not?
Highly recommend.
I
have also been listening to the soundtrack non-stop.
It's
phenomenal.
I feel like I would absolutely recommend it, but it will leave some people cold, because when it answers the questions, it answers them in big ways, as we say, and that can be dissatisfactory to some people. But I feel like when it's raising the questions and the ideas, which has happened to a lot of stuff that I've really, really loved over the past year and a bit, that it's better when it raises those questions than answers them. But because it has the guts to raise those questions, I think that's why it's resonated with me quite a bit.
I liked it very
Absolutely
much
recommend.
as well. Midnight Special is in cinemas today. If you do see it in the next week, you get in touch with us, tell us what you thought at LRJ Film Show on Twitter, facebook.com/LRJ Film Show, email liam.milburn@sparksunderland.com. I'd be very interested to hear your thoughts. It has caused quite a lot of debate amongst critics, but it is doing very well. So
You know what's
I'm excited.